Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the December 12th, 2019 meeting of the Arcata City Council. If you care to, please join us in the flag salute. May we please have a roll call? Here.
Vice Mayor Winkler.
Here.
Councilmember Patino.
Here.
Councilmember Ornelas.
Here.
Councilmember Pereira.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Next is public comment. Do we have any members of the public that would like to comment on anything on tonight's agenda? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to our first. On tonight's, so the special meeting is comments on tonight's agenda, right? Or this afternoon's agenda? So the special meeting, the public comment is for items on the agenda? Yeah. So if, right. So first we have new business. Item 1, elect a mayor and vice mayor pursuant to Arcata Municipal Code section 2020. And so, per our recent amendments to the protocol manual, we've established essentially two options for ourselves in selecting a new mayor and vice mayor. The first being a rotation procedure as outlined in our protocol manual. And the second option does allow the council to select any member of the council by a majority vote. So I just wanted to, it's a new system, a new procedure. So I just wanted to open it up for discussion with the council and just check in and see how everyone's feeling and which direction we all want to move forward with. So if we have any discussion by the council, we'll start there.
Well, I'm okay with trialing the rotation thing since we voted to do that. I don't see any reason not to. No, I voted against it.
All right, so I'm going to presume that we would like to move forward with the procedure of rotation as outlined. And per our procedures, I move to nominate Vice Mayor Winkler to the position of mayor.
Second.
Do we have any public comment on this agenda item? All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
All right, so we have motion carries and
Then I will be my mayor.
all right, so now we can trade seats if you care to.
Next is to select vice mayor. So I am entertaining nominations for selecting vice mayor.
I think it's the procedure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Based on the rotation, the next in the rotation for vice mayor would be Councilmember Paul Patino.
Oh, okay. Oh, which is, let's see. Do you see the section right here?
Right. I mean, you just do it. I think you just nominate that person. Right?
All right. So based on the rotation procedure that we've established, that I nominate Councilmember Patino as vice mayor.
And can I make a second for that motion, or make a motion for that? Or
You can make a second.
yeah, I'll make a second to that motion.
So any public comment on this item? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, Paul. Oh, okay. All right. Next is to consider council member assignments to regional boards, committees, and commissions, and as liaisons for 2020. Could I have a staff report, please?
Yes, Mayor and Council, my recommendation today would be to take what we sort of consider to be the top 5, which are those that are outlined in red. I have passed out your 2020 Council Liaison selection criteria or your preferences to you this afternoon. Looking at those red sort of top 5 JPAs, it does appear as though they do divide in terms of preference number 1 between the 5 council members. So I would start with those 5, Mayor, and then I would just move from the top down through the rest of them to make sure the rest of them are covered, be my recommendation. So the first one would be starting with Humboldt County Association of Governments, or HCOG. Does that make sense? I'm happy to walk through each of them if you would like. It's up to the mayor. All right.
All right, let's see, the current member is, whom on that one?
Is Councilmember Ornelas, and it continues to be her first choice, and nobody else listed it in their top 5.
Come on, you guys, somebody's got to be an alternate, and it's so much fun. It's really actually very interesting to learn where transportation funds come in and, you know, where it goes, and I found it to be a really educational experience. You don't want to be alternate anymore?
Yeah, I'd be alternate, except for, you know, we came into a conflict
Want
last
to turn
year.
your microphone?
We came in a conflict last year because I was alternate and I was HTA rep.
Right.
And I was trying to fill 2 seats, so maybe somebody else would like to be alternate.
I would be willing to be alternate unless somebody else wants to.
And so I know the meeting, it's the third Thursday, right?
Third Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Let me take a look at this to see if that conflicts with, I think that RCEA is 4th.
Yes, our CEA is the 4th Thursday at 3:30.
Third would be fine.
So I guess we're going with myself as the, I forget what the P stands for.
Primary? Yeah.
okay. And Winkler as the alternate.
Okay. So the next one then is Humboldt Transit Authority. Councilmember Patino listed this as first, and Councilmember Winkler listed this as third. Nobody else put it in their top 5.
Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, moving on to Humboldt Waste Management Authority. Councilmember Pereira listed this as her first. Councilmember Winkler listed it as second, and no other votes in the top 5.
All right.
Redwood Coast Energy Authority, Mayor Winkler listed this as first, Councilmember Ornelas as second, and nobody else put that in their top 5.
All right.
That seem good? Mm-hmm. Okay. If you were second, are you okay with that as your alternate, as being the alternate?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
All right, and then we have Redwood Region Economic Development Commission, REDEC. Councilmember Watson has listed this as number 1, and then there is several other folks that are interested. Councilmember Pereira listed it as number 2, Councilmember Ornelas is number 3, Mayor Winkler as 4, and Vice Mayor Patino as 5.
It's funny how we laid that out. Well, it seems like it might work well with Councilmember Pereira because the way your work schedule is, this one fits you kind of better.
And I
so-
have served on it before, so I do have a familiarity to step in.
I am particularly attached to REDEC.
Yeah.
So I'm really not, I would really like to hold
You
on
want
to
to be
it.
the primary and Pereira
Yeah,
could be
primary.
the alternate.
okay, cool, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the alternate. Yeah,
To be
I
the
was just saying
alternate
that.
to back you
Thank
up.
you.
Yeah,
Sophie would be the alternate?
yeah, Sophia would be the alternate.
Oh, okay.
All right, so those are sort of the 5 large JPAs, and then we'll go back up to Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District, the Water Quality Task Force. All of you listed some interest in that, but maybe now based on what your assignments are on the large 5 JPAs, you can talk through who would like to serve.
And this one didn't even meet last year.
No. And it was assigned to me, and I'm happy to continue.
Continue not going.
meeting. Exactly. They almost called a meeting
Oh, yeah.
this year. It got close.
And I'm happy to be the alternate in case
Yep.
that's necessary.
All right, and then the Humboldt-Delnor Hazardous Materials Response, JPA.
You two want to go for it? Pereira and Watson?
I'd be willing to be an alternate just because of work conflict, but
This
I would be able to
was,
be a primary.
oh, yeah, no, I'm happy to remain the primary. They meet
Okay.
once a quarter, and yeah.
Right, it's not that big a deal.
All right, the Humboldt County Indian Gaming Local Community Benefit Committee.
I also did that this year, and it did not meet. I'm happy to continue not meeting again.
Okay. Yeah, I've done that before. I'm happy to be an alternate.
All right, then we have the League of California Cities. So we have the Redwood Empire Division, and then we have representative to the Business Division, the Division Business Meeting. So usually those end up being the same people. Actually, not quite sure why we have them, but maybe Councilmember Patino.
Oh,
Vice
no,
Mayor
I-
Patino could tell us.
It's the League of California Cities. I'm not really like an expert on them. A little bit of it's confusing. But yeah, the legislative person goes and votes, and the regional appointee, just goes to the meetings. So yeah, I'm willing to do both still, unless somebody else has to have it.
I'm happy to be the alternate.
So is that for both positions, Patino and Watson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then moving down into the liaison appointments, we have the Arcata Camawapa Sister City Committee. Vice Mayor Patino has listed this as his first priority, and Ornelas listed this as number 3.
I think that's where we're at
Yeah,
now. We
yeah.
can just continue that?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, then moving on to the Chamber of Commerce, Councilmember Ornelas listed this as number 1. Councilmember Patino listed this as number 3.
I don't like getting up that early.
Okay, any other alternates for the chamber?
And they changed it to the Wednesday, we have a council meeting too, which is so you're up really early and then you're up,
Yep.
like, those are long days. But anyway, I still like it.
Any other alternate options? Susan can't be sick.
Right. there
Yeah,
you
I don't
go.
mind being the alternate.
Like they don't get sick too often.
I will be the alternate.
All right, then we have Main Street. Councilmember Winkler listed this as first. Councilmember Ornelas listed this as number 2.
I'm happy to be alternate. You want to be primary?
Yes.
Okay.
Arcata House Partnership, we have 2 that indicated this as their top priority, Councilmember Watson and Councilmember Pereira. Mayor Winkler and Vice Mayor Patino also had an interest in number 2, Arcata House Partnership.
I'd be happy to be an alternate if Councilmember Pereira wanted to continue.
Sure. Thank you.
It seems to go with your statewide position too, so that's kind of beneficial probably.
All right, and then the last one is Friends of Arcata Marsh. So Mayor Winkler and Councilmember Watson both listed this as 3 or 2.
I've attended the meetings this last year, and I just really don't see a need for a council member to attend. I let them know that I am accessible all the time. I just don't know if that's a necessary liaison appointment. That's just kind of my opinion on it.
That's the way I felt when I was the liaison. It didn't really seem necessary for
Yeah.
a council member to be there.
Do you think we would like to take that off? Can we do that?
I would, yeah.
Yeah, I believe this was added, and I'm not going to get the date right, but certainly within my time frame here, and I think at the time Alex Stillman was a phone board member and was also on the council and had an interest in that liaison position. So I think it was within the last certainly 8 years probably that it was added to your list.
I've done it before in the past. I don't remember what year, but
So maybe we could write them a letter and say that, if they ever feel that we need to know the information or there's something, that they could invite the mayor or whoever, something like that, so that they know they still have that that connection.
Sure, and we could probably say, you know, you can meet with the mayor and then, you know, come to council with an agenda item if they got a problem, you know?
Well, there you go. Or, that we could even attend their meeting, because that's when they're all there. I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, so it comes off as friendly, but we just recognize that we have a lot of different things going on.
Be happy to do that. All right, so that concludes your 2020 liaison assignments.
Oh, one other thing that, on the HSU City Liaison, that Councilmember Watson has indicated that he would like to continue attending, and that's fine with me.
Well, make him the alternate.
And so that I, as mayor, would be the primary, and then Councilmember Watson would also attend.
Yeah, I just wanted to just keep attending them. So I've been going, and I've been, just trying to spend a lot of time and energy working with HSU and building relationships, and so we can have two council members there, and I would just like to continue that service.
I don't know, I like to think about that, exactly, because it may dilute the effort of the liaison, okay? I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking that if we had two council members there, it suddenly could be a Brown Act thing if they talk to anybody else.
Well, I mean, if one council member talked to someone else, it could start around that thing.
Yeah. I'd like to think about that, you being a regular attendee.
Well, I don't know if this is something we actually need to vote on or approve, because it's not a...
In the past, how we've referenced the HSU liaison meetings is that the mayor is always in attendance. If he or she can't be, then we do ask the vice mayor to attend. And then if there is any item of interest to any council member that they want to put an item on that agenda, then they can attend as that second person. I think that has only, though, happened once in the last 3 years that a second member attended. So it is, the rest of the time we have only had one person in attendance.
Yeah, it's not about you going, it's just about setting up a system inadvertently to where we send two council members to them,
Yeah, I understand. But I would like to continue attending.
Yeah, and I'd like to support the idea, because that is probably a hugely primary relationship for the city. And if you're interested in it, I don't see anyone getting hurt by it. I mean, I think you could go anyway, can't you? I mean, maybe you wouldn't have notifications about it.
Only two of you can attend.
Well,
So,
right.
I mean, the way it could operate is if there is an item, or if another council member wanted to come for a particular item, then we could have Brett sit out that particular meeting while they did that. But in absence of that, which I will say is 95% of the time, there would be the availability to have a second council member there.
My preference would be, because I understand the desire, but I also feel like for those of us that have served as mayor and being a part of those meetings, I would have had a desire to continue to be involved at that level too, because we all, I think, have a very strong interest in that relationship with the university. So for me, I see a value in to maintain that practice that we have, or to maybe just clarify the practice that it's the vice mayor that's the alternate, given that the assignment of this liaison position is the mayor. But I understand the desire. I just feel like if we are going to have a practice that's really stated, that it should be based off the mayor, vice mayor lineage, and case by case, if there's a particular issue of interest.
Sophie, I understand what you're saying, but I just a clarification for my understanding is that if Michael can't go as mayor,
Yeah.
then I would go as vice mayor. But Brett will be there all the time.
Yeah,
Not go if you have to go.
Well, no.
yeah.
So if we want to try temporary assignment, where you can go and see how does that feel to us. I mean, I'm not against it completely. I guess I'm looking out there.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Councilman Pereira, because I also thought, I had that same feeling after I was off,
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like truly this relationship, we're working hard at it. If you feel, I don't see any damage. I don't see any problem. If there becomes a problem, maybe someone could bring that forward to us and, we'd learn something. But I feel like, really HSU sends 5 or so people, so it's not unprecedented in a sense of that a few people representing the organization are there.
And I think you're right. So, maybe we do it for a meeting or two, only meet once a quarter, and we can check back in with the council and see how it goes. And if it's not making sense, then we can not do it.
Yeah, if we can do that without having to write anything up for this. What do you think? That's a Nancy question.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean about having to write something up.
So we just have an understanding that Brett's going to go for the next quarter.
And then
that
it comes
doesn't-
back to the council. You're giving direction that it come back to the council for a evaluation.
In a quarter, and then,
Is that what
Okay.
you're suggesting?
yeah, I think so. I mean, unless, and maybe at that point, we might want to say, in the future, a council member can go as this sort of temporary kind of backup.
Yeah, and I don't think it's been temporary backup. I think, the practice, or, maybe the unwritten practice has been that if there is an item of interest to any of the council members, since it's only the mayor that one other council member can go, I think the request is that Council Member Watson would like to go in the absence of somebody else having that interest.
Yeah, okay. You wrote the words. And if we need them. So, are you,
So you're saying that we will have an agenda item, say in April, where we will review this as an idea and get some honest feedback of whether it's becoming problematic or if it is fine, or? That seems
and
okay to me.
how they feel about it also.
Right, that's
you
what I
know.
mean.
Yeah.
For them to- You would just have to be very honest about whether you feel like it's working for you or
Yeah,
not.
to see if it's working, and
I support the extra effort for HSU. I just want to make sure we're not starting something that we're going to have a problem unraveling later.
So you would like this to come back to you at a future agenda? Is that what I'm just trying to clarify? I mean, they do only meet quarterly. I would say maybe we bring it back if there becomes a conflict for a particular meeting that I can't resolve. I mean, that would be another alternative. I mean, the way I see it working is if the mayor can't attend, I'm going to ask the vice mayor to attend. And if nobody else has requested an item that, they'd like to speak with on that, then I'll let Brett know that I don't have anybody else. And if there's a conflict that arises, then I would bring that before the council.
The one thing I could just reflecting on over the course of years doing this, most of the other council members are not aware of when that meeting is. I mean, they maybe if they pursue it, but it doesn't come forward to you and make you think, oh, I wanted to talk to them about something, So that's maybe a little bit of a failing to some degree of this.
I agree with you. I had to hunt out when the meeting was going to be, when I wanted to go and be part of it. So, yeah, I had the same problem.
I mean, maybe we could all, I don't know if it's okay if we all can see the agenda or something and we know we're not going, but, so we just stay on top of what the discussions are or the issues.
Yeah, we certainly, HSU puts out the agenda, but when we receive that, we could forward it to the council.
It seems like that'd be interesting.
Helpful.
And then you'll get more competition for wanting to go.
yeah. There is a meeting today, actually, this afternoon.
Oh, there is? I don't think I want to go.
All right, so I think that is all on liaisons.
Thank you again, staff, for just organizing this the way it is. It's much more graceful than it used to be. So thank you.
All right, so I'm going to open this up to public comments. So if anybody in the audience would like to comment on this item of council member assignments to regional boards, committees, and commissions, please come forward.
Plaza Point, and this afternoon, the point is representation for all the stakeholder interest to the council for what we do as an overarching umbrella for all the operations of the city. One thing that doesn't appear here is a housing ombudsman for all of the tenants in the home program that depend on fair and firm enforcement for a reasonable expectation of a safe, secure place in an environment free of intimidation, harassment. And somebody needs to take on that special interest to be a go-between between the property owners, the property managers, and the tenants and all the stakeholders in the community, because housing is the vital interest that our city is pursuing on so many levels. We can't leave anybody behind. It's not an option. Every human has a right to a home and a living environment. And right now what I see at the gardens for the last several years is negligence in operations, safety and security issues, death, harassment, intimidation, and now at Plaza Point, we have not a tenant, but a manager who Christmas Eve will be on the street with 2 children among unhoused persons, and the reason is discrimination for sex. If you look throughout the home program in any municipality in the 3,331 counties of this country, every manager is a woman. Why? Because they don't count. You can fire them with will. They are dependent on the property manager and owner for their house, a roof over their head for themselves, their child, and their income. They lose both. Double jeopardy. No recourse. It's simply an administrative decision, but it has consequences.
Okay.
We need your help for fair, firm, and equitable housing for everybody, for tenants, but also for those managers who are responsible party in times of emergency or disaster or serious concern of illness or safety or security. I don't have a reasonable expectation of going home in a safe, secure environment tonight. And neither do any of the other tenants in the hundreds of units in the home program. I'm asking next year for your commitment in a special way to the housing program. Leave nobody behind and stand tall. House us all.
So I know some of the tenants there, this last year had some concerns. We were holding a meeting, and I was asked to come, and I did come and listen, and I brought some of those concerns to our staff. And I'm pretty, I think I speak for all of us when I say the council is always accessible, and we're always here to listen if there are concerns and help in any way we can. So I would, I hope you feel that way. And if there are concerns, I hope you bring them to us, because I think we do, really care about the tenants there.
Would any other members of the public like to comment on this item? Any other comments from the council?
So we'll need a motion to accept your 2020 City Council liaison appointments. And if you would like me to read them, I can, or if you'd like to just accept them if our city clerk has them.
We've got that, so moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right. Right. Next is the meeting of the Joint Powers Financing.
Well, we have to adjourn this one first. Let me make a comment real quick.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to say thank you so much to the council for giving me the opportunity to be mayor for 2019. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And, I just also want to thank our city attorney, who took a lot of phone calls from me, answered a lot of emails. Thank you so much. And, all of our staff. And I really especially like to thank City Manager Karen Deemer. She really provided an immense amount of support to me throughout the year. And, I definitely could not have done it, as effectively without her support. So thank you so much.
So I will adjourn the city council meeting,
Hang
and
on
then
just-
I will turn this back over no, actually to,
Paul wants to make a comment.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Brett. I think you did a really good job. Thank you. I look forward to sometime in the future you doing it again.
Well, thanks, Brad. Really good working with you on this, and we'll continue working together.
Thank you.
And then we are adjourning the city council meeting, and then we are convening a meeting of the Arcata Joint Powers Financing Authority with Chairperson Watson presiding.
Thank you. May we have a roll call?
Chairperson Watson,
Or here.
Vice Chairperson Winkler,
Here.
Board Member Patino,
Here.
Board Member Ornelas,
Here.
Board Member Pereira.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Do we have any members of the public that would like to comment on this agenda item? Right, seeing none. Approve the minutes of the City of Arcata Joint Powers Financing Authority meeting of December 13th, 2018. Do we have any discussion? All right, any members of the public like to comment? Seeing none.
I'll move to approve the minutes
Second.
of, whatever the date.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And new business, elect a chairperson and vice chairperson. And I will go ahead and make a motion to elect Mayor Winkler as the 2020 chairperson and Vice Mayor Patino as the 2020 vice chairperson.
Second.
So, any members of the public that would like to comment on this agenda item? Seeing none. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And you want to adjourn it since you're the chairperson now?
Okay. Thanks, Brad.
Oh, yeah, man. That was easy. Quick.
Twice the work, same pay.
There you go.
Glad I escaped it this year. Well, good.
All right, well, congratulations to you
Yeah,
both.
yeah.